Option A, most global entry applicants are approved within 2 weeks, but they wait 4 to 6 months just to sit down for a 10-minute interview. That gap is not a glitch. It is the system working exactly as designed, and almost nobody knows why. Option B, right now, there are enrollment centers in major U.S. airports where the next available global entry interview is 180 days away. You paid your $100, you passed your background check, and you are sitting on a list behind thousands of people, all waiting for a slot that lasts less time than your coffee order. Option C, here's a number that will change how you think about trusted traveler programs. The average interview, for global entry, NEXUS, SENTRI, or FAST, takes between 8 and 15 minutes. But the average wait to get that interview is currently over 120 days at the busiest enrollment centers. That is 4 months of waiting for a quarter-hour conversation. Final hook, Option C. Here is a number that will change how you think about trusted traveler programs. The average interview, for global entry, NEXUS, SENTRI, or FAST, takes between 8 and 15 minutes. But the average wait to get that interview is currently over 120 days at the busiest enrollment centers. That is 4 months of waiting for a quarter-hour conversation. Today we are going to break down exactly why that backlog exists, who it actually hurts the most, and how the smartest travelers are skipping to the front, completely legitimately. Let's start with the basics, because most people misunderstand what these 4 programs actually are and how they differ. Global entry costs $100 and gives you expedited U.S. Customs clearance when you fly into the United States from abroad. It also includes TSA PreCheck. It is issued by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and you can use it at over 70 international airports worldwide. NEXUS costs $50, half the price, and it is a joint program between the United States and Canada. It covers air travel, land border crossings, and sea entries between both countries. If you live near the northern border or travel to Canada regularly, NEXUS is arguably the better value. It also includes TSA PreCheck and NEXUS lanes at Canadian airports. SENTRI costs $122.25. It is the southern border equivalent, designed specifically for frequent land crossings between the U.S. and Mexico. It gets you into dedicated SENTRI lanes at land ports of entry, and it includes global entry and TSA PreCheck benefits. It is the most expensive, and in many ways the most powerful, for the right traveler. FAST, which stands for Free and Secure Trade, is free. It is designed exclusively for commercial truck drivers crossing between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. It expedites cargo inspections at land border crossings and is completely separate from the other 3 programs. Now here is what most people do not know. All 4 programs require an in-person interview. Not recommended. Not optional depending on your situation. Required. Every applicant, every time. That single requirement is the root cause of every wait time problem we are about to discuss. When you apply for any of these programs, here is what actually happens behind the scenes. First, you submit your application online through CBP's Trusted Traveler Programs website. You pay your fee. CBP then runs a preliminary background check. This typically takes 1 to 4 weeks, sometimes less. If you are conditionally approved, you get a notification to schedule your interview. This is where the bottleneck begins. CBP enrollment centers are physical locations, inside airports, at land ports of entry, and at a handful of standalone facilities. Each center has a limited number of enrollment officers, a limited number of interview windows each day, and a fixed number of appointment slots per week. There is no overflow system. There is no virtual interview option. You must appear in person, at a center that is authorized for your program. And here is a critical detail that catches people off guard. NEXUS interviews must be conducted jointly by a U.S. officer and a Canadian officer at the same time. That means NEXUS enrollment centers only exist at specific locations near the U.S.-Canada border or at designated Canadian airports. If you live in Atlanta or Dallas, your nearest NEXUS enrollment center might be hundreds of miles away. Same principle applies to SENTRI. Those interviews happen at or near southern border ports of entry. So the geographic pool of eligible centers is already restricted by program type. Layer on top of that the post-pandemic surge in international travel, the backlog of applications that built up when enrollment centers were closed for over a year, and a hiring environment that makes it hard to staff up quickly, and you have the perfect backlog machine. Slots do not sit empty for long. They get booked within minutes of being released. The system is demand-driven, and demand is crushing supply. Mistake number 1 is booking the first available slot without monitoring for cancellations. Most people grab whatever appointment shows up, even if it is 5 months out, and they assume that is just how it works. They check the scheduler once, see bad news, and give up. Mistake number 2 is not understanding that appointment slots open continuously. When someone cancels, their slot goes back into the system instantly. This happens every single day. People reschedule, life changes, plans shift. If you are only checking the scheduler once a week, or once a month, you are invisible to those openings. Mistake number 3 is applying too close to an important trip. Because the interview window can stretch to 6 months at busy centers, applying 2 months before your travel date is a real risk. Apply the moment you know you want the program. Earlier is always better. Mistake number 4, and this one is specific to NEXUS applicants, is not checking both sides of the border for enrollment center availability. Canadian enrollment centers sometimes have faster availability than U.S. centers for NEXUS interviews. Because it is a joint program, you can interview at eligible locations on either side depending on your situation. But here is what almost every traveler gets completely wrong about this. Most people assume the waitlist is first come, first served. You apply, you get in line, you wait your turn, and eventually a slot opens up for you in chronological order. That is not how it works at all. The scheduling system does not queue you. It shows you available slots in real time, and whoever books it first gets it. There is no priority order. There is no position in line. If an appointment opens at O'Hare for next Tuesday and you happen to be checking the system at that moment, that slot is yours, regardless of when you applied. Someone who applied 6 months before you will get a later appointment if they are not monitoring the system when openings appear. This changes everything about strategy. You are not waiting for your turn. You are competing for real-time availability. The traveler who checks most frequently, or uses an automated tool that checks for them, wins. This is why people who understand the system can get interviews weeks or even months earlier than people who do not. The best travelers treat the scheduler like a flight deal alert. They do not check once. They monitor continuously. Here is the playbook. First, book whatever appointment is available right now as a safety net. Even if it is 4 months out, lock it in. You can always cancel and rebook if something better opens up. Having no appointment is worse than having a far-out one. Second, set up monitoring for cancellations. This is where most people fall short, because manually refreshing the CBP scheduler multiple times a day is not realistic for most people. Life gets in the way. You forget. You check at the wrong time. This is exactly why AppointmentHopper.com exists. AppointmentHopper monitors enrollment center availability around the clock, across all 4 trusted traveler programs, and sends you an instant alert the moment a slot opens at your preferred location. You do not have to watch the scheduler. The system watches it for you, and you get notified in real time so you can grab that slot before anyone else does. For NEXUS applicants specifically, AppointmentHopper also monitors locations on both the US and Canadian sites, so you get the widest possible net of available slots. Here is exactly what to do right now. Step 1. Go to the CBP Trusted Traveler Programs website and submit your application for the program that fits your travel profile. Global entry if you fly internationally and want maximum coverage. NEXUS if you cross the US-Canada border frequently and want the best value. SENTRI if the US-Mexico land border is your primary crossing. Fast if you are a commercial driver. Do this today, not next month. Step 2. Pay your fee and complete the application fully. Incomplete applications delay your conditional approval, which delays your eligibility to even schedule an interview. Step 3. The moment you receive your conditional approval notification, log into the scheduler and book the first available appointment, even if it is months away. This is your safety net slot. Step 4. Sign up for AppointmentHopper at AppointmentHopper.com. Select your enrollment center or centers of preference, your program, and your notification preferences. Let the monitoring begin. Step 5. When you receive an alert that a closer slot is available, act immediately. The window is often minutes, not hours. Have the scheduler bookmarked and be ready to confirm quickly. Step 6. Show up to your interview with all required documents. For most programs, this means a valid passport, proof of residency, and any additional documentation CBP requested. A missed or unprepared interview does not get you a fast rebooking, it puts you back into the wait. The wait time problem in trusted traveler programs is structural. Limited physical capacity, mandatory interviews that cannot be waived, geographic restrictions for NEXUS and SENTRI, and a surge in demand that the system was not built to absorb. These are real constraints, and they are not going away soon. But the system is not closed. Slots open every single day as people cancel and reschedule. The traveler who monitors continuously gets the appointment. The traveler who checks once a month waits 6 months. You paid your application fee. You passed your background check. Do not let a scheduling bottleneck be the thing that delays your benefits by half a year. Use the tools that exist, be ready to move fast, and you can be sitting in that interview chair weeks, not months, from now. If this video helped you understand the system better, subscribe to AppointmentHopper for weekly deep dives into every trusted traveler program. Drop your questions in the comments, we read every one. And if you are already in the wait, go set up your monitoring right now. The next available slot might be 48 hours away.